haven't been able to sleep more than a few hours a night, if that, for almost a week now. I want to say that it started maybe Sunday or Monday night. I was in bed doom scrolling through Reddit and my eyes started getting super heavy. I double-checked my alarm, put my phone next to me and closed my eyes. Not even a minute passed by when I heard fingers snap twice right next to me. I sat up quick, but didn't see anything. My heart was racing a bit, but I tried to lay down again. Not even seconds goes by before I hear a noise right next to me. That sounded like someone smacking their lips. It was unnerving. I sat awake most of the night hearing strange noises. This has been happening nightly. I'm feeling movement around me and hearing odd noises. Last night was worse. Same scenario. In bed, I checked my alarm and put the phone down. I heard my text notification ding a time or two. From the back of the house, no one there. I go to the den, turn the lights on and look around. Nothing. Go back to my room. And the second I'm ready to sit on the bed, I hear it again. I turned all the lights on again and decided to go to the bathroom to splash water on my face. I was so sweaty and I felt sick to my stomach. It was 3:22 a.m. The second I hit the restroom, I'm looking into the church parking lot across the way. Through my partially open window and I see a shadow move. Scared the shit out of me. I'm nervous to sleep tonight. I don't know how it will be. I slept with the lights on last night. I was terrified and still am. I don't know what to do or what is going on. What you guys think? Was he really bothered by an evil spirit or was he thinking too much? I used to live in a small old house, out in the countryside, miles away from any neighbor. It was the kind of place that should have felt peaceful. No traffic, no city noise, just the sounds of nature. But from the first day I moved in, something felt off. I tried to brush it off, thinking I just needed time to get used to the new surroundings. But the feeling only grew stronger as time went on. It started with the sounds. At night I would hear the distinct creaking of floorboards coming from the living room. The first time I heard it, I thought it was just the house settling, or maybe an animal outside. But the creaks were steady, rhythmic, like footsteps slowly moving back and forth. I'd lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding in my chest as I listened. I'd get up and check, but of course, there was never anything there. The footsteps weren't the only noises. Sometimes, I'd hear whispers, low incomprehensible mutterings that seemed to come from the walls themselves. I couldn't make out any words, just a constant, unsettling hum that would start and stop without warning. I never felt like I was alone, not even during the day. It was like someone was always watching, hiding just out of sight. One night, I was lying in bed, half asleep, when I heard a noise that jolted me awake. It was a soft tapping, coming from the window next to my bed. I turned over slowly, my breath caught in my throat, and stared at the window. The tapping continued, rhythmic and insistent. My bedroom was on the second floor, and there was no tree or anything outside that could be causing it. I was paralyzed with fear. I wanted to look, to prove to myself it was nothing, but I couldn't bring myself to move. I lay there for what felt like an eternity, listening to the tapping, until it finally stopped. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I went outside to check the area around my window, hoping to find some rational explanation. There was nothing, no branches, no signs of anyone climbing up there. Just an empty wall and the wind whispering through the tall grass. The days went on, and the sense of unease continued to build. I started feeling watched everywhere in the house, even during the day. I could swear I'd see shadows moving out of the corner of my eye. But when I'd turn to look, there'd be nothing there. Then came the worst of it. I had been out in the yard one evening, fixing a section of the fence that had come loose. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the fields, and a cool breeze was rustling through the leaves. I remember feeling unusually calm, like maybe I was just letting my imagination get the better of me. As I stood up to take a break, I glanced back at the house. There, in my upstairs bedroom window, I saw a face, pale, expressionless, and utterly still, staring straight at me. It didn't have any distinct features, but I could feel its eyes boring into me, even from a distance. My heart stopped, and I froze in place. I thought maybe it was a trick of the light, a reflection, but no matter how long I looked, the face didn't move or disappear. I don't know how long I stood there, staring back at it, but finally, I managed to break free from the trance and ran into the house. I charged up the stairs, bursting into my bedroom, ready to confront whatever was there, but the room was empty. I ran to the window and looked out to where I'd been standing moments before. Nothing. The face was gone. I spent the rest of the evening in a state of shock, trying to rationalize what I'd seen. Maybe it was my own reflection, or some strange trick of the setting sun, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. That face, whatever it was not mine, and it wasn't the last time I'd see it. Over the next few weeks, the face became a constant presence. It would appear at random times, always in the same window, always staring blankly out at me. I'd be outside mowing the lawn or taking out the trash, and I'd glance up to see it watching me. Sometimes, I'd catch a glimpse of it in the reflection of the TV screen or a mirror inside the house, just for a split second, and every time, I felt that same icy dread wash over me. I tried everything to get rid of it. I covered the window with thick curtains, but it didn't help. I'd still see the face behind the fabric, like it was pushing through, trying to get to me. I even tried moving to another room, but it didn't matter, the face would always find a way to appear. One night, things escalated to a new level. I had finally fallen asleep after hours of lying awake, my nerves frayed to the breaking point. I was jolted awake by a loud bang, like something had slammed against the wall of my bedroom. I sat up, my heart racing, and listened. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. And then I heard the tapping at the window again, but this time, it was louder, more frantic. I turned my head slowly toward the window, dreading what I might see. And there it was, clearer than ever before. The face pressed right up against the glass, its mouth moving like it was whispering something to me, but I couldn't hear a sound. Its eyes were wide and dark, empty of any humanity. I don't remember screaming, but I must have, because I found myself standing in the middle of the room, my throat raw, with the taste of bile in my mouth. I grabbed a flashlight and shined it at the window, but the face didn't disappear. It just stared, unblinking. Then, slowly, it began to fade, like it was sinking back into the darkness behind the glass. That was the breaking point for me. I couldn't stay there another night. I grabbed my keys, left the lights on, and drove to a friend's house without looking back. I didn't care that it was the middle of the night. I needed to get away from that place. I stayed with my friend for a few days, trying to explain what was happening, but I could tell he didn't really believe me. I didn't care, I knew what I'd seen. Eventually, I got a hold of a real estate agent and put the house up for sale. I never went back there alone again. My name is Claire Henderson, and until a few years ago, I never believed in the paranormal. My husband, Tom, and I were ordinary people with 2 kids, Lucy, who was 10, and Max, who was 7. We bought a small, 1950s-style bungalow in a quiet suburb, thinking it would be a great place to raise our children. We never imagined that our lives would turn into a nightmare. It started off small, little things, so little that at first, I thought I was just being forgetful. We moved in during the summer, and everything seemed perfect. But within a week, I started noticing odd occurrences. The first thing I remember was the kitchen light. I'd turn it off before going to bed, only to wake up in the morning and find it on again. I thought it was a wiring issue, or maybe Tom was forgetting to turn it off, but he swore it wasn't him. Then, there was the strange smell. It was a foul, musty odor, like something rotting. I couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from. One day, it would be strongest in the living room. The next day, in the hallway. I cleaned the house from top to bottom, but it never went away. It just came and went as it pleased. The kids started complaining too. Lucy said her toys were moving around at night. I laughed it off at first, thinking she was playing games or that Max was sneaking into her room. But then one morning, I walked into her room and saw it for myself. Her dolls were lined up perfectly, along the edge of her bed, all facing the same way, which was something Lucy never did. She wasn't a tidy kid, and I'd never seen her toys arranged like that. That's when the whispers began. I'd be doing laundry or cooking, and I'd hear soft whispers, like a conversation just out of earshot. Sometimes, it sounded like it was coming from another room. Other times, it felt like it was right behind me. I'd spin around, expecting to see Tom or the kids, but no one would be there. Tom didn't believe me at first. He said I was stressed from the move and that my mind was playing tricks on me. But then he heard it too. One night, we were lying in bed, and he suddenly bolted upright. "Did you hear that?" he asked. I had been half asleep, but I heard it too. A faint, unintelligible whisper from the hallway outside our bedroom. He got up to check, thinking maybe Lucy or Max was out of bed, but both of them were sound asleep. We tried to forget about it, but it kept happening. The whispers turned into soft humming, a low, eerie melody that didn't sound quite human. It happened at all hours of the day, but mostly at night. We even tried recording the sounds, but nothing would come through on the playback. It was as if the house itself was mocking us. One evening, Lucy came into our room crying. She said a woman had been standing at the foot of her bed, staring at her. She described the woman as having long, dark hair and wearing a dirty, white nightgown. She wasn't moving, just standing there, looking at her. My heart dropped. I didn't know what to say. Tom tried to calm her down, saying it was just a nightmare, but I could see the fear in her eyes. She was genuinely terrified. The next night, Max woke up screaming. He said he saw a shadow on the wall, moving even though no one was in the room. I stayed with him until he fell back asleep, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I started feeling watched all the time. I'd be in the shower and feel like eyes were on me. I'd turn around, and of course, no one would be there. But the worst was when it happened to Tom. He was always the skeptic. But one night, he woke up gasping, clutching his throat like he was being strangled. He said he saw her, the woman Lucy had described, hovering over him with an expression of pure hatred. He didn't sleep for the rest of the night, and from then on, he kept the bedside lamp on while he slept. Then came the scratching. We'd hear it from behind the walls at night, a slow, deliberate scraping sound. It started in the hallway, then moved to the living room. It became so loud that we could hear it from our bedroom. It wasn't rats or mice, we'd had the place checked. It was something else. One night, the scratching was so loud it woke the kids. We all stood in the hallway, listening. The sound moved from one side of the house to the other, like something was trying to claw its way out. We decided to get out of there. We packed a few bags and drove to a motel for the night. That's when we knew we needed help. We contacted a local paranormal investigator, a woman named Denise. She agreed to come to the house the next day. When she arrived, she immediately said she felt something dark there. She asked us about the history of the house, but we didn't know much. She walked around with her equipment, and we followed her nervously. When she reached Lucy's room, she stopped cold. Her face went pale, and she turned to me and said, "There's something very angry here." She set up some cameras and audio equipment, and asked us to leave the house for a few hours. When we returned, she looked shaken. She showed us the footage. In the recording from Lucy's room, you could see a shadow moving across the wall, and there was a low, guttural growl that sent chills down my spine. Denise said she believed the entity was attached to the house. Not us, but it was feeding off our fear. We asked what we could do, and she suggested a cleansing ritual. She warned us that it might not work, that whoever was in the house was very strong. Desperate, we agreed. She performed the ritual, burning sage and chanting, telling whatever was there to leave. For a few days, it seemed like it worked. The house felt lighter, the smells disappeared, and the whispers stopped. But it didn't last. A week later, it all came back. The smells, the whispers, the scratching. It was worse than ever. One night, I woke up to find Lucy standing in our bedroom doorway, her eyes wide with terror. She was trembling, and her voice was barely a whisper. "Mom," she said, "she's in my room again." I grabbed her and held her close, but then I saw it. A shadow at the end of the hallway, darker than the rest, shaped like a person, but wrong, its limbs too long, its head tilted at an unnatural angle. It stood there for a moment, and then it started moving toward us. I slammed the door shut and screamed for Tom. He grabbed Max, and we all piled into the car. We didn't even bother packing. We drove straight to my sister's house and never went back. We sold the house at a loss, and I don't care, we just wanted out. All I know is that some houses are better left alone. If you are interested in hearing more chilling and disturbing horror stories like this, then subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon button so you can be updated of our new videos. Thanks for watching.